No, not live yet. We're streaming there. Starting.
Okay. So hi, I'm Morgan Lean, just bringing to you some more stuff about...
Oh, hang on. Okay, go for it.
Alright, so I'm Morgan Lean and I'm here to bring out some more body count information for everyone. So what I've got here is I've got the comic, which you can see the Worker's Tale. Worker's Tale is basically a story about an average person within the block and their rise to the status of a body count character. So the pages are turning, and you can see we've got this very rich artwork, which is evocative of a 90s style comic artwork. You can see some of our corporations, which we've got. We've got a fair bit of story. And basically, we're just going through the day in the life of the average block citizen so that you can get a real feel for the game. In the Kickstarter, the comic is one of the PDFs that we'll be giving away on some of the actual goals, and you can also get hard copies of the comic as well. And we will be publishing more and more comics. We've actually got 3 comics written now. I've got the Worker's Tale, we've got the Detective's Tale, and the CEO's Tale. And we're also working on another comic, which is basically a series for a team. Now, I've got all this material for the body count setting, and this made the book very vibrant and rich. So as you see into these action pages, we've got these amazing action pages with these really broad panels with jagged edges and stuff like that, really differentiating the front of the comic. And you can see that we're basically talking about this character's beginning, as these gangsters are running around looking for something. So it gives you a feel for what the setting's like.
So, it's Derek here from the Dice Stormers. I'm off screen, I'm off camera. But Morgan, can you tell us a little bit about the why you wanted to make a comic? Why was there a desire to do this?
Well, I've always wanted to write a comic, and I'm a comic fan. I used to have a lot of comics when I was a teenager, and it just seemed like a really good format to tell the story quite quickly, and it also developed a huge amount of art very quickly for us.
Yeah, right.
We were lucky to get a really good comic artist who'd already worked for Wildstorm. If you know about comics, you know which group that is.
Yeah.
And he worked on this comic. Currently he's working on this Howling comic as well. And we basically wanted to have our ideas for the setting displayed in as digestible format as possible, because this game is all about being fast. So you can get into the story fast, you can play the game fast, you can read about the comics, and our plan is to release content quickly. So we're quite far ahead on the curve as far as the amount of content we've developed.
No. All right. So, well, we're looking at some of that other content now with the actual book itself. How much did the game influence the comic, and how much did the comic influence the game? Where does the balance come in?
Yeah, so I think the comic actually influenced the game quite a lot. Essentially, we had written the comic earlier on. We hadn't produced the artwork for it. And as the artwork was coming online, because I was waiting for all the panels, I started creating the game alongside. So we basically crafted the game around ideas that we got from the comic and also the artwork that we had. So as you see the book that we've got, we've actually incorporated quite a lot of the style from the comic into the book.
Yeah, right.
So the whole thing with the panels that we've got, we've actually taken the panels, and we've got the panels with no text, and we then were able to put those into the book. This here is a marketing proof that we're working on, basically. And we've got all of the rules and everything within this single book. And most of the content is in the second book, which is the Tales from the Block series, which will be laid out in a similar way, but it's a very thick book.
Yeah, right.
It's actually around between 100 to 150 pages. It's got a lot of characters, over 70 characters in it, and it's got 3 full stories, which should keep people very occupied, plus a whole bunch about the setting itself.
All right, well, we're live, obviously, and there are a bunch of people watching us. So I'd like to throw out...
Murray from the Dice Numbers is also here. I was the hand, but I'm also
Page
here.
turner.
The page turner, that's right.
Your hands are very recognisable.
They are, because they are very, very...
The Roman rings and everything.
Yes.
So, yeah, 4 people watching us, and we'd be quite open to taking any comments or questions.
We also thought we might roll up a character on the stream to show how amazingly quick and easy it is, and how full of character and how different the mechanisms are, which basically differentiate Bodycount from anything else you've seen.
Yeah, and we've already received lots of feedback from people on the Kickstarter wanting to know more about the system and get early versions of the system. They're available to have a look at, but they're not as advanced as these, because this has gone through editing and it's also been prepared, so they don't have all of the same rules, they don't have all the rules and all that stuff, but we can actually go through rolling up a character.
Yep.
And we can also talk about some of the design concepts that come behind that. We're also uploading some other videos which talk about broadly the setting and also the rules. So they're a bit more of the nitty-gritty sort of stuff what we were trying to achieve.
Okay.
But any questions, just go ahead and ask them.
Right.
All right, so my first question, I think, has got to do with the stats themselves. So I love them. We're meat, flash, smart, guns, face, guts, and face and jet and edge. So yeah, they're very nice and interesting and different, and they kind of reflect back on your system as well, which is a very sort of
Yeah, so we came up with the stats, and they're basically themed around this game. So if you imagine this game is an 80s action movie,
right.
These stats are themed around that. So it is really guts, and it is really, flash, which is how fast you move, and face for how good you are at talking to people.
Yep.
And we wanted to make the stats so simple that anyone could actually build from these sets of stats any sort of character that they like. And the other important thing we did in character generation was we wanted everyone to play to be able to say my character is really good at this, and have that all reflected in the initial dice, because we like the idea of using dice and rolling dice, rather than a point-buy system. But essentially that is all built into the system, so that when you make your character, it'll be thematically fairly accurate to what you want.
And you've got so many different types of characters to choose from. So you can have as many varieties as you like. You've then got, of course, your talent trees. So once you've rolled up your character, then you can choose a talent tree to go for. Now your stats are out of 10, right? So you've got 5 stats. As Derek said, you've got meat, smarts, guts, face, and flash. And the really cool thing about the rolling for them is the way you've designed to make your key stat have more chance of having a high roll.
That's right.
So you've got 1d4 plus 6, 1d6 plus 4, 1d8 plus 2, and then straight 1d10s.
That's exactly right. So the idea is that, when you go into it, you know what sort of character you're going to get. This is an additive system, so we don't have actual penalties in this system. We only have additive numbers. So we don't need to do subtraction or division, we just need to do addition and multiplication. That's one of the key elements in designing those attributes, because we wanted every player to be able to go, well, I'm making a character who's great at talking. And in one of our first games that we had, that was my character was great at talking. Your character was great at taking damage. Your character was great at hacking. And that's really easy to do in this system, because you just know, hacking requires smarts. It doesn't really require anything else, you just have smarts, and off you go with smarts. So you go, well, I want that D4 on that one, which will add 6, and then you're very likely to get a high number.
All right, well, why don't we do it?
What sort of character should we make to our streamer viewers? And if they're out there, should we have a face, a smarts, or a meat kind of character?
Yeah, we might need to decide it ourselves.
Okay.
There's a delay, so if anything comes in, I'll let you know. But,
Right, yeah, you let us know. I think we'll go with face. We'll go with the talkie character. So we're going to roll 1d4 plus 6 for our face stats. We roll 3 plus 6, so therefore our face, very good at talking, is a 9.
Nice.
What are we going to be next? What's our next most important stat?
Well,
Smarts?
Smarts?
Flash?
Flash. I like Flash.
You like Flash?
Yeah.
All right, this is how fast we
you always
move,
pick Flash.
how agile we are, which is 1d6 plus 4. Oh, is that on camera? No, it's not. Rolled a 5. Oh, this is we're fantastic.
9.
5, so 9. Oh, we're acing it. Right, next. Morgan's choice.
Okay, I'm going to say that you've got the Flash. I think you need guts because you've got that stuff, and I reckon guts is.
All right, we're going to roll guts, so it's 1d8 plus 2 for our third stat, and that's for 6. 6 for guts, which is not too bad. Much more of a talker than a.
Not really brave though.
No, cool. We'll talk when we have to, and then our remaining 2 stats are just a simple straight 1d10. So for smarts, a 5.
5, average.
Yep. And for meat, oh, he rolls it off the camera. Oh dear, he's a 2.
Yeah, so you're more of a Bodycount Jay than a Ripley. That's your guy.
So you've then got 3 secondary stats, which are derived from your primary rolls. So you've got your flesh, which is your meat times 2, which is not a lot. 4, plus our guts times 2, which is not too bad. So we've got 16 for our flesh.
Yep.
Then your jet is how fast we can go if we have to really move, which is flash times 2. So actually we can move quite quickly when we have to run away because our meat's so terrible. And then your edge, which is basically your what you get at the beginning to give you an advantage over any edge.
Yeah, so edge is a pretty different stat. So basically edge, you roll every session. You might get good or bad, but basically you can use edge points to modify your rolls, and you can actually do it after the fact. So let's say you didn't roll well on some sort of talking, you try and talk Ripley into going onto the alien ship. You didn't roll well, you can use that edge to get a reroll, but you can also use edge on certain talents. So certain talents require the use of an edge, and NPC characters who are bosses actually have edge as well. So most of the boss talents actually use edge. So it's a pretty important stat.
Yep.
And the other thing that you can do with edge is it adds to your experience at the end of the game.
If you don't use it, you can.
If you don't use it, you get to use it on your experience. So you always want to make that edge roll at the start of the session. And you've got to roll well so that you can actually.
So your edge roll is a 1d3 plus 1. So obviously you're going to roll a d6, and 1 and 2 is 1. Yep. 3 and 4. Right. So 3. 3 edge for this.
So that's pretty good.
So pretty. Yep. So there you have it. That's bam.
You've got the final stat, which is noise.
Noise, right?
So noise is a stat that goes up. It can go down, but it'll require some role playing and discussion with the game master. But this is how much attention you attract in the block. So the block is this mega structure on Mars, and the police notice people with high noise values much more than people with low noise values. So at most sessions where you do something extravagant or dangerous or daring, your noise will go up. But noise is a double-edged sword. It also helps you in some sort of face rolls where you're trying to intimidate people.
So is that a GM decided kind of stat that they'll say your noise is going up?
Yeah, they'll say that. And each point of noise is quite important. And it can actually increase the threat from police mooks who come after you.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, there you have it. That's how amazingly quickly it is for character creation, but then you've got all the depth for your talent tree, so you can choose basically darkness, vigilante, maniac. I love the maniac. The cyborg. And then you've got the tough guy.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay. Well, I'm kind of curious to see, the flavour and the backstory now, and we've played a game of it, but is there anything that's in that game that we put up on our YouTube page that you think people would like to know about the block? I mean,
I think maybe what would be good would be just to know about the size of the block. So the block is a huge structure which essentially, if you took all of North America with all of its population and all of its cities and crammed it into a small building, which is 64 kilometres tall,
Right.
like very tall, but actually quite small in area, that's how big the block is.
Right.
It's 500 million people jammed in there on multiple levels. And each of these levels and modules is different. So we've got, in Tales from the Block, we've got a module which is called Container Town. This is the primary sort of adventure area. In Container Town, there's all these shipping containers that are part of a big sort of conglomerate that was selling product, like an Amazon type company that was selling product, and they went bust. And all these shipping containers are there, and people break into them and they drop them from the ceiling and do that sort of stuff. And people get equipment. And this is a lawless zone almost. There's a security company that sort of has taken over it, the security company that was fired from the contract, and they're still there. But then there's this civil administration group, and they've sort of devolved into these almost quasi cult type guilds that run in this container town. And there's also these cyber gangs there. So there's the machinists, and they're actually a semi-religious cyber gang who actually implant body types, body modification without anaesthetic. So their initiation ritual is actually carrying someone up to an altar, hacking off their arm, and then putting an arm on while there's no anaesthetic. And in one of the scenarios, you meet the machinists because one of their people's gone missing, and these are like the baddest dudes in Container Town, and they can't find the person. And that's actually a solo scenario. So
Right.
as you go through it, you can actually start off with a solo scenario, and then you can work your way up to another scenario. And the scenarios running in Container Town are linked.
Right, so we've got a few comments from In Plain View. And yeah, he doesn't want to be packed in the block. So the block is not, they're not thrilled about the block. Is that right?
Well, I mean, you're going to be packed in the block.
Yeah, but nobody's happy about
No one's
being
happy
there.
to be in the block. It's one of the things that people want to do is leave the block.
Yeah, right.
And that's sort of the victory. So I ran a long campaign for police type characters, and their victory for the block was actually getting a visa and
To get
joining up with a spaceship that was leaving the block with a whole bunch of citizens to colonize another planet.
Right,
and that was
right.
their victory. So
Yeah.
yes, of course you want to leave the block. It's thematically appropriate to want to not be in the block.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about how you get around in the block, because there's no money in this system.
There's no money in this system. So this system is so fast that we don't have time for money and
Right.
keeping track of how much money characters have. Basically, we have a resource stat, and that resource stat is a skill that you put up, like your guns and your weapons and stuff like that. And the more of that, the more equipment you have access to. But we also use that for things like bribery and stuff like that. You can bribe people if you have a resources of 3, and it's just assumed you buy them a can of chug or something
Right.
from a vending machine. So we streamlined the game so much that we didn't need that money. And anything that you want, you can actually just buy with the experience system.
Yep.
And that has actually led to a really, really different experience for new players, because quite often in some of these games where money is really, really important, they'll have this race to try and get equipment. That doesn't happen in Bodycount.
Yeah, right.
You have a race to equipment. All you have to do is just save your XP and say, I'm spending it. And we've had games where characters have not even had talents. They've just decided, no, I'm just going to keep buying different equipment and just upgrade my equipment.
Yeah.
Because they want to have a character who's more like, I don't know, like a Batman without any
Yeah.
any other detective abilities. So I guess, like the Punisher.
Like the Punisher.
He
Yes.
doesn't have any abilities.
Yeah.
And
I've often wondered how the Punisher, where he gets his money from. I guess he takes
just has resources. He doesn't have any money. He just
Yeah.
has the resources skill. He just goes and one day he turns up with a machine gun. Where do you get it from? He
It's
just
not-
has it. He
not
just
really.
has
The
it.
old scavenger.
So, so in the block, what do? I just walk up to a vending machine
Yeah, you
and
walk up to a vending machine and
and
it
it-
scans your little chip. that's
it
in the
identifies
plan.
me. Yeah.
As a child, you were placed on the little, like your mum went into a vending machine and you and your mum came out, and there was a little chip implanted in you so that everyone knows where you are. And basically the block is, in a way, intelligent. It knows where its citizens are.
So there's an AI.
Yeah, and there are things much scarier than people in the block that will come after you if you're inappropriate with equipment. But they're quite happy for you to have whatever equipment your chip says you're allowed to have.
Yeah.
And if you want to push your luck, there's things that we can use to basically do that. You have this escalating thing with the noise and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, if people want to, there's another.
I can't quite see that.
I can't read that.
In plain view says I like to story lead. What roles would be in the game? So what kind of you don't have character classes?
No, we don't have character classes. But what we have is we have a number of skills, a number of attributes, and we have these talent trees. And as we release more and more stuff, we'll actually be releasing more and more talent trees. We've actually got another 4 talent trees. I've even got one for chav characters from the UK. And they've got an amazing talent called Lather, which basically means they talk and nobody can do anything else.
Oh, it's like a banter role.
Yeah.
Jolly good hockey sticks.
It's quite easy to also come up with your own talent trees. There's no classes. You can actually buy some of the darkness talent and mix it with Cyborg. There's no problem doing that. It just means that it's more effective to purchase abilities in the same talent tree than to mix and match.
But you can basically build a character in any way you want using skills and talent trees. So skills, you've got acrobatics, melee, perceive, persuade, resist damage, shoot, stealth, swagger, and use item, which pretty much covers everything.
That covers everything.
And then you've got the talent trees, which basically are how you want to build your character, whether it be a cyborg type character or a vigilante type character or detective or any of those sorts of things. So
stealthy.
Stealthy. So basically within those, you can pretty much build whatever character you want, whatever backstory you want to build. So it's a very open,
flexible system.
Yeah, the idea is basically once we have players playing this game and submitting it, they can actually create their own talent trees too. It's not difficult to come up with a talent tree. It's sort of just difficult to balance them a little bit, but all you have to do is...
So there's generally five parts of a talent tree. So five talents within
there's always
talent
5
tree.
talents within a talent tree.
And
you just can mix and match between the talent trees.
And they're not level based, are they? There are 5 talents within a talent tree. You can choose any one of the 5.
Purchase those talents.
So you're not having to you have to have 1, and then you have to have 2, then you have to have 3. You can go, I want 3, and then I'll go to another talent tree and I'll choose 5.
And originally we did that. Originally we had it so that you bought one ability, then you bought the other one.
Right.
But we thought that basically one of the tenets of this game is push it to the limit. So it's perfectly acceptable for you to start off with these talents.
So your prerequisite is essentially the XP rather than you need to have the first 4 levels of this talent.
Yeah, that's right. And as a game master, you can actually decide on the XP level of the characters at the beginning of the game. You can say, well, nobody has any experience if you want. And then they'll get experience. Or you could say everyone's got lots of experience, so they might have 2 or 3 talents.
Right.
Cool.
So you can actually mix and match what you want.
So it's a high-tech, futuristic kind of game. But it's not really Shadowrun, is it? It's not.
It doesn't have the Shadowrun fantasy elements of elves and dwarves and stuff like that and magic. The talents are sort of magical in the sense that they are outlandish.
But they're kind of narrative. I think they're narrative, like that tough guy who basically can absorb whatever.
The tough guy actually doesn't. He's not tough. He just doesn't know.
Kind of berserker. He's like a berserker. Yeah. He goes to the red zone, and therefore, it's like, you're going to hurt tomorrow.
He's ignorant. It's basically his talent is ignorance.
Don't you know you're dead yet? No.
And the other stuff that we've got from similar games to Shadowrun to Cyberpunk 2020 is we've got a big cyberware list. So what we did in this cyberware list is rather than have lots and lots of little options, we have cyberware which basically covers like all of audio, and it has levels. So there's a different cyberware level for each resource's like cyberware level. So you can start off a character with just 1 or 2 resources, and they will have cyberware if you choose to write it down. You don't have to worry about empathy. That doesn't exist. You just put the cyberware in. You've got a cyber arm, that's fine. You've got cyber legs, that's fine.
So again, you're kind of falling back to this narrative over detail kind of.
Yeah, the whole goal was to basically make a very fast-flowing game. What we want is cinematic, fast action that can be determined by 1 or 2 dice rolls. So essentially, if you were doing a car chase in Bodycount, you basically can just roll 1 d20 each for the game master and the player, or you can actually just roll the player. You just set a difficulty. You say your difficulty for this car chase is like 30. And then they just roll the d20, plus their use item, plus their stat, and then that's how you determine the outcome. We also have different degrees of success. So basically, you can normal success will have consequences, which usually gives the NPC, the little NPCs called the moose, who have no hit points, they just die straight away. It gives them an advantage. So you want to get a bit better than a normal success. The moose have got us.
The moose is smashing stuff up. Okay. So there's a sort of a grunt, a gruntling kind of population that says that can just be taken out very easily.
Yeah, there is. So there's a few questions.
Oh, good. Questions.
So would the RP be determined by the person when you start?
Yeah, so I guess that means role playing. So RP, I guess.
It's determined by the person when you start.
What do you mean XP?
No, role playing. So I think and correct me if I'm wrong in plain view, but the general vibe of it is you kind of have to have a vague idea of your character before you start, because you want to know where you want to put your strong stats into.
Yeah, or you could actually determine it randomly. It wouldn't make a difference. You can't put your stats up, but your stats, you can overcome poor stats by increasing your resources, by buying talents.
And you can roleplay. You can believe that you can believe you've got a really good face when in fact you've got a crap stats.
And just remember that there's no penalty for having a face of 1.
Right.
All it means is that generally, on average, you're not very likable. But you could roll a 20 on your d20, and that's great.
Cool.
Yeah, so the reason we don't actually use classes is essentially that is additional material for bookkeeping, and there's also issues with balancing that. So imagine the talent trees are like classes, but they're automatically able to be multi-classed. So that's essentially what we do with this system.
Yeah, nice. All right, Sumo Curtain 1. He retracted his message, so maybe we answered it whilst we were talking. But I've never seen that come up before. Retracted message. So please, if you've got any other questions, let us know. So that's kind of cool. That's a really good overview of the system, and I think it talks to your design tenets too. That behind it, you wanted fast, over the top, take it to the limit kind of gameplay. And every episode is kind of like a half-hour cheesy 80s action TV show.
That's exactly
60 minutes. 60 minutes.
60 minutes? Sorry,
30 minutes. Whoa.
So essentially, the reason we wanted that is we didn't get to play as much as we used to in use. So like we cut down the time so that we could get a lot done. And basically by getting a lot done in a shorter session, so you might only need 1 session every week or 1 session every 2 weeks, but you can run a campaign over 3 to 4 weeks, which is pretty satisfying because you're not bogged down in a combat system, and you're not bogged down in any extraneous bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is very transparent as well. There's no real way that you can fudge around because the stats are actually essentially just listed on every character sheet, and there's a resource stat. You have whatever equipment that resource stat has.
Yep.
And you
So
also,
as you can see, each prosthetic there has a number attached to it, a level, and you can't access if that number is above your
bad things will come after you.
yeah, and this is sort of the more sort of experimental type stuff that we've done in this system. Is we got rid of things like cover, we got rid of things like the money, and the reason we did that was
our audio is echoing.
audio is echoing.
I'm not sure why that would be. Hang on.
Maybe because I'm loud.
Maybe I turned off one audio input. So I don't know. Keep giving us advice on the audio, and I'll maybe switch it around if I need.
Okay, so essentially by removing like the need to really stay intense and doing that sort of stuff, we have a more role-playing experience. We basically, Mario can say, I'm just going to stand up and yell at that guy and then push my chest out and take whatever damage he throws at me. That's all resolved with one, possibly two rolls. And you can also then extend that, if you want, over several scenes. So we've got this other more complicated system in this version, which basically allows you to do several scenes in one dice roll, and it determines at which point you fail in that scene. So let's say you're breaking into a house. You could say, well, I'm going to break into the house, and I'm going to be really clever by disabling the electricity first. And for a game master, I'd say, well, you get +2 to this roll. And then you roll your d20 to break into the house, and it's probably a used item roll because you're using an item. And it's depending on where you fail, we come up with that story of your house break-in, and I just describe it as you break into the place. And then if you did fail, or if there was a part where the difficulty was higher, it could determine whether you have a scene within the house or whether you have a scene outside the house getting away, or and it builds
And I think that also, all of that adds to the cinematic nature of it.
Yeah, hang on a second. I'm just going to try something with the audio here. So we're going to lose audio for a second.
Is audio back?
So I think audio is back now. So Dermot Rains, if you could let us know if that's making things any better, and we'll see how we go. So
Thanks for saying we rock.
Thank you for saying we rock in Plainview.
All right. So
okay, so it sounds like we're a little bit better.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, I guess the other thing that we wanted to sort of talk about is the Kickstarter. So we're promoting this on our channel.
We're promoting this on Kickstarter. We're at 40% now, and we've got some really great stuff. We've given away some of the best Kickstarter items, like the boss and stuff like that. Went pretty quickly, but there are other really great items. Plus, any help is greatly appreciated because we want to get this material out. Our business model is to basically make good, high-quality books, make a lot of them, and make a lot of scenarios as well. And we've actually got a team of 6 game masters who are right now writing scenarios.
Yeah, right.
We've got things like spreadsheets for generating NPCs. We'll be releasing some free content as well around how to make maybe talent trees. That's something I'm working on. That's quite a difficult thing to balance, but it's something which we want to do, and we're really excited to get this out because we've been working on this for a while, and we think it's a different type of game. It's a great game to have if you've got a D&D group and you aren't sure about, other more complex systems.
You want something that's fast.
You want something that's fast and quick to get into it. We also are going to provide solo scenarios, so if you've only got small groups, you can have these solo scenarios that can be extended. And essentially, we are just really pumped to get this out there because we think it's great, we think it's interesting, and it's different, and it's adding something to the gaming experience.
Yeah. And
it's getting some more cyberpunk experience for this year. And I think we've got a really nice looking book as well.
It is. It's the production quality on the book is great. Very, very impressed with that. All right. So the link to the Kickstarter is below. It's in the description of this video. So please go ahead. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not.
We'll just paste it.
No, that's not it. Okay, so I'll edit this video once it's up. But if you search for Bodycount on Kickstarter,
yep,
it will be there. And check it out. We've got a couple more comments. Does this system use a GM?
It does use a GM. However, if enough people ask me to, we can make either a table-based system that doesn't necessarily need a DM, or a system where we change turns.
Yep.
Because a lot of it is collaborative. When you describe a scene, this is how I break into the house, that's actually a collaborative story.
Yeah,
You're saying, I do this, and I say as a GM, okay, this is what the difficulty is. But you could almost play it without a game master, because if we release, say, the standard difficulties, you can then actually you know, come up with a collaborative story.
Yeah.
And if that's something that people are interested in, we'll release more content. We're pretty good at doing the computer programming and things like that. Derek's known me for quite a while. So we're working on things like character builders and all that sort of stuff. And right now it's really about starting this off, getting people interested, getting the material out there and getting the books all printed and boxed up and sent out, and then listening to feedback about what people want. We do have about 6 books written,
right.
But, you know, if somebody says, hey, I want that, I'll write it.
Yeah.
We've got lots of game masters who help us.
All right. A couple more questions. Do you think Bodycount should have a GM for both mechanical and thematic reasons? Well, you kind of just went through that. I mean,
it depends on the group.
Yeah, it can and it can't.
We can't see it. What does that mean?
What can't you see? Oh, the link?
Oh, yeah. We don't have the link there.
Yeah. We can get the link up.
Yep.
All right, well, that's it. If you'd like to watch this video, if you came in halfway, it'll be on YouTube very shortly. And
we're also uploading to YouTube our own sort of Dark Stars. That's the name of the overall setting. We're uploading some Dark Stars video which really go through the history. So
nice.
Rather than having to read, you can just watch the video and see some pictures, and there's a voiceover. So we got some voiceover done there. We could put some music out.
Yep.
We've actually got a soundtrack for this game which we're putting up on Sirenscape. So we've done a lot of work in advance to try and help people get into it. And it's the easiest game in the world, I think, and the fastest to make characters.
All right. One last question from Dermot Rains is, if you could travel back in time and watch one person sneeze, who would it be?
Ooh, Queen Victoria.
Queen Victoria.
I'd take a photo of that for sure with my iPhone.
Yeah. I would really like. So if we're talking anyone, I would really like to see a T-Rex sneeze.
But that's not a person.
Does that not count?
I don't think T-Rexes count as a person.
No, I think T-Rexes would disagree with you. But anyway, that's my deal. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining us on our live stream of Bodycount. Please check it out on Kickstarter and like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for all you guys.
Thank you very much.